So I'm Jason Thomas. We're joined by Adam Granduciel from The War on Drugs. You have a record coming out on the 29th of October, and you're going to be here in Colorado on February 18th
Hell yeah.
at the Mission Ballroom. We got to get the important dates out of the way right off the bat. So how are you? How you doing?
I'm great. I'm currently in Austin, Texas for a week.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
The first question I have for you is, how long were you sitting on this record? I was hearing that you really wanted to wait until you could tour behind the record, and when the pandemic was going on, that was definitely not an option. So how long were you paused? How long did you have the finished product?
Not that long, actually. We basically we finished it in May of whatever year this is, 2021. So we were working up until the pandemic. We were trying to finish a record because we were supposed to go on tour November of 2020 and all that. We were going to finish I'm not really sure what we would have turned in, because in the time in between, like, the back half of 2020 and the first 5 months of 21, we did so much work to it. So I don't really know what we would have turned in, but yeah, basically we had something, and then the pandemic happened. And then we tried to do it for a few months over email, which obviously is no way to make music. And then Sean and I got together in person maybe in October of 2020, and we just started like shaping the record into a new direction. And then we finished it earlier this year.
Yeah, I've read that you like to spend a lot of time in the studio, maybe a little bit more than the average recording artist. So when the pandemic started up and you're encouraged to be at home and stay away from other people, was that an excuse to spend even more time working on your music, or how did that work out?
It was like, yeah, we also had a baby, so it was like we were basically we had him all the time, which was great, obviously. So I was able to work in my home studio here and there. But I didn't have so much time that I was able to kind of like get completely lost, and you kind of started trying to get used to the idea of staying in all the time. It wasn't until about October of 2020 when Sean and I were in person together where it made more sense. I mean, the first 6 months I was sending sessions to all the guys in their respective home studios, and people were adding stuff and throwing ideas at the wall, and I was trying to shape a few of the songs. But yeah, I mean, we were given basically another year to kind of go a little deeper, but it wasn't a kind of thing where we just had too much time and too much studio. Like, we definitely, Sean was also, my producer was also a new dad, so we both had limited time to waste, when we were working.
Sure.
Which was cool. So we had extra time, but not so much time that we were kind of just like messing around without any purpose,
Yeah, I think we all know a few people with reclusive tendencies that took a little, that they really enjoyed pandemic living, where they could
right,
hold up and do their own thing for a while. So
I know.
I didn't know if you were falling into that category or what, but
No, I mean, the thing is got the hardest to get used to was not going to the grocery store, which is one of my true joys.
About songwriting, your approach to it, has it changed over the past decade or so from when the band started to where you are now? What sounds good to you, what you're setting out to accomplish with each song, has that evolved over the years, or is it still feeling the same as it did when you were starting out?
No, it's definitely evolved. I mean, I was like, when I started, I was really interested in making music and recording and sound and everything, but I had no experience as like a songwriter, and I still wouldn't really, it's just still like something that I'm trying to get better at with each album. This time around, I feel like I had a goal, which was to write more concise material, and stuff that had like a beginning, middle, and end, and stuff that felt on record as dynamic as it feels when we're on stage as a band, but it's like everything you grow up doing somehow influences your stuff. So I was always a little bit more interested early on in the band's career. I was always a little bit more interested in like the recording process and coming up with cool ways of arriving at sound and arriving at a song. And those things still creep their way into our songs now, except I think I'm also a little bit more focused on like melody and structure and arrangement and stuff like that. So yeah, still, still learning really.
So like the heart and soul of the song as opposed to the sonic aspects, you find to be a little
Yeah,
more.
more so now. It's like more so trying to write a cohesive song and build, and then I feel like once you have it's like anything, once you have a solid foundation of a song, then like you can have a lot of fun with how the sonics tie into it. And so in the past, like with our album Slave Ambient especially, it was more about like starting with the sonics and building up these wild sounding tones and loops and stuff, and then you trying to put a song on top of it, which was fun, but it was like it was somehow limited how much freedom you had with the arrangement. So yeah, we're at a cool spot where it's kind of like this ongoing journey.
Yeah, the records, especially the last couple. I mean, as a music, as the way we consume music, it's evolved over the years, and it's become more singles driven and playlists and clicking and dragging and things like that. And you can customize your listening experience. But the last couple of records from the War on Drugs, I mean, the old school album experience, I really feel it with these records where you just put it on, you hit play, and you sort of let it go all the way through, and it works together as a single piece of work. So I just wanted
Yeah,
to let you know as a
yeah.
fan, I
Oh,
definitely get it.
thanks. Yeah, I
And
mean, I think that's still important to. There's still plenty of people that, and it's just not maybe as immediate, but I think that even some kid that's maybe browsing and finding singles and then kind of clicking and then listening, and they'll eventually arrive at something they really enjoy and they'll check out the rest of the album. It's just human nature, I think, to just dive a little deeper. Um, it's just not the same as handing somebody a record and putting it on, but people still, I think, that's what they kind of want at the end of the day. So yeah, we just try to, put it all together like that for the kids.
was it a little more collaborative this time around? I would imagine being the front man and the band leader. Um, some people like that are a little less willing to accept input from their bandmates. So was it different this time around with you said something about Zoom and sending ideas via email and things like that. Did the record come together a little bit differently than they had in the past?
I mean, even before the pandemic, yeah, we were definitely more collaborative. Writing in the studio, I'd have bits of songs. I'd have 40% of a song. I'd have 90% of a song, and I'd sit in the room with Dave and Anthony and Robbie, and we'd work it out really quickly. And it would like the band would give a like a sonic footprint for the song. It's like, oh, okay, all this. It was kind of like in 3 parts on my voice memos, and now we played it as a band, and it feels like a song. Like, okay, I can see it now. It's like anything, like, when we made other albums that were less collaborative in that way, I was also I was unsure of how to run a session, like how to like get guys in the studio and arrive at a song. It's not like you just walk in the door and then you play and your song is done. So I think as we've gotten older, I've learned how to like run a session and like be in the studio and getting the best results out of people, and how to like move it along. And I think when you kind of understand that a little bit better is when being collaborative in the studio is much easier, and like you get way better results because just know the flow and you kind of let people be themselves, and people only want to really contribute what comes natural to them. So this time, yeah, it's like we've all been friends for a long time now and touring together and close musical buddies, and everyone's just very adept and has like great musical mind. So we all get in the room and we just kind of work it out, and it's really satisfying and quick.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, the last couple of records, I mean, I remember hearing Slave Ambient and enjoying it, but really the ones that came after that, the
Yeah.
Lost in Dream and A Deeper Understanding, you can almost hear it. You can almost hear how everyone's working together and the songs coming together. And and things like that. So again, like as a fan, like those things that you talk about, I pick it up on this end a little bit too.
Yeah,
So
cool.
I kind of know what you're saying.
Yeah.
One thing I like to ask artists about, being musicians, did you have a moment when you were younger? Was there a record that you bought or a band that you discovered or something that hit you and left a mark and sent you on the road that you're on today?
I would say there was a couple, I think. I think my brother was a couple years old, like 3 or 4 years older. So before I really got into music, I was kind of exposed to what he was into. So I remember he had Zeppelin 4, he had Into the Outdoor, he had Neil Young, Harvest Moon, Jimi Hendrix, Greatest Hits, I think. Gin Blossoms, classic record. So he had a bunch of stuff, and I got into all that stuff. And then I remember when I really got into music was like, I think when I got a Discman, and maybe that second Pearl Jam record at the same time, or I also got Nevermind. I mean, all those records happening, Soundgarden, like all those records happening, 1990, 91, 89, I was 10. So realistically, when I was like 11. And I remember in wanting to play guitar so bad, and I finally got a guitar, and then I got the Siamese Dream tablature book, and I learned how to play basically every, except the solos, because those are ridiculous, but I mean, every song on Siamese Dream. So there's that whole chunk of very early 90s, like, all those huge records that, like, when you were in 6th or 7th grade and those things came out, it was like all we were talking about. I mean, before that, I remember like Octune Baby was a record I kind of liked, which came out, I think, around the same time as Pearl Jam 10, but
Yeah,
nothing
that was a nice
until
one,
like
yeah.
a year or two later when I was really obsessed. Like, just something clicked, where music became more than just like something on the 3rd floor of my friend's house.
Yeah, no, I like to think of the young brain as wet cement, and I was like that
Yeah,
too. There are a few records that just leave big handprints that are just
yeah,
there and just hit you in a way, like forever and ever. Like I'll still hear some of those records. We're about the same age, but you talk about 1991. I remember reading a couple of think pieces about how important that year was for music, because you had really important hip hop records that went mainstream
yeah,
that year. You had rock music changing with the grunge stuff, but you still had those
yeah,
big older traditional rock bands like Guns N' Roses and Metallica were killing it that year too. So
right,
yeah, that was an exciting year for music, and I
yeah,
know exactly what you're talking about. I was right there with you with
yeah,
a lot of those records. So
yeah. I remember getting my first Discman, and that was like, it was like, it's basically the same thing as like getting a car 7 years later. Like getting your first, so like, Discman and headphones was like, you could just be in your room, but you could be in your own little world. It's like, it was like, I remember that was just like a big moment, was having my own little CD player, and I loved it.
yeah, the first Discman or two, you had to just sit with them. You couldn't walk with them. They would just skip
That was
everything.
it. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
first few were terrible, and then they had the yellow one that could absorb some shock or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, just a couple more questions here for you.
No problem.
I know Kurt Vile was in the band early on with the War on Drugs. Did you both been pretty successful since then? Did you both know early on that you were gonna need your own thing to channel your creativity, or
Not
you know what I mean?
really. I mean, I feel like he probably knew more so because I met him. He had already made a bunch of albums on his own, home recordings. He was like years ahead of me with like music production, and I think when we met each other, it was like kind of the thing where I was like, we were both um, maybe looking for someone that was into doing it all the time. Like we just met each other. It was kind of this thing, and we were both interested in similar stuff. And I was always down to record and jam and play keyboards and guitar. And we just kind of developed a friendship based around making music. And I think, he always, I think, understood that he was a songwriter, and that's what he wanted. Um, and I was still learning how to like channel the music I was hoping to make. So I think I grew into it a little bit more. I think he had a pretty clear sense of identity before we even met each other. But I mean, having him in the band early on was a great inspiration. And then I think kind of when he decided to when we moved on without him, it was also a blessing in the way that it kind of forced me to step inside the role of leading a band. And then, I mean, I had to take it upon myself, and that's really where I think I learned how to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, it seems to have worked out well for everyone, that arrangement there. Madison Square Garden, I know that this is a big deal. You're playing a show there in January. And I read that piece in the New York Times where you said something about how you played some really early shows in New York and they were terrible. Now, if you're someone that's overly sentimental, that might be like way too much to handle, that juxtaposition right down the street from where you played these early shows and now the world's most famous arena. Do you think you might have a moment like that when you're there, or is it just business as usual that night?
I think we'll have a moment. I mean, it's like usually that moment is when you walk in that afternoon and you're looking at everyone, we're unpacking the truck or something, and then you walk in and you see the empty arena, or when you're walking from the dressing room, to the stage, and you're looking at, I don't know, New York Knicks stuff, or who knows, it's like, it's going to be a trip. That stuff always is. And that's pretty cool. I mean, I would say arguably the only thing cooler is maybe Red Rocks, which we haven't done yet. And that's that's not only because I'm talking to you, but that would, I think, be a similar level of awe. But yeah, I mean, Madison Square Garden. Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's no point in mentioning all the amazing shows there, but it's going to be a good one. I don't doubt it.
Yeah, I'd love to be there. I might try and figure out a way to get there, check that out.
Yeah, but definitely.
You talk about walking into the empty arena. I'm trying to remember how many music videos I would see. The band walking in, doing the sound check, unloading the gear and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really happy for you. I'm sure that show is going to be a blast. The record's going to be out on the 29th, and here in Colorado, Mission Ballroom, February 18th. Adam, it's been a blast. I could talk to you all day, but I know you have other stuff to do. So
no problem.
Thanks for the time, and it's been a lot of fun.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Chance to be reborn. I never wanted anything that someone had to give. I don't live here anymore. I went along in will. Think about the old days, babe. You're always on my mind. I know it ain't like I remember. I guess my memory I never took our love for granted. You never left me wanting more, but you never recognized me, babe. I don't live here anymore. Beating like a heart, I'm gonna walk through every doorway I can stop. I need some time, I need control, I need your love. I wanna find out everything I need to know. I'm gonna say everything that I need to say, although you've taken everything I need away. I'm gonna take mother's dream, then watch it fade away, wrapped in our old tired skin, peeling away. All the flowers lately in our window lay in disarray. finally feeling free. I'm living down by an old par 3. You know I'll be playing. Come around, don't take it hard. Don't let them stone you when the come down starts. You've been moving much too fast. Never know just where it ends. What would I find living this life without you? I got swept up in a world so strange, one you never even recognize. But I slipped away, a stranger, and I don't know why. It's killing me, baby, with your words. They brought me out onto steady ground.